Time to re-up YouTube. Your boy Mustard is back with another video, and we are here to talk about my squad, my team, my boys, the Chicago Bulls. It's been a rough year so far to be a Bulls fan. We are below 500 right now. We are not even in the play-in picture, and we are 12th in the Eastern Conference. Wow. All the players that were former Bulls over the last couple of years, including picks that we've given up in trades, they've all gone on to be prosperous this season. Lauri Markkanen is having a resurgence year with the Utah Jazz. Wendell Carter is still looking really solid with the Orlando Magic. And for those who don't know, Franz Wagner was also a part of that Vucevic trade in exchange for Wendell Carter, and we've all seen how his career has gone so far with the Orlando Magic. It really is painful to be a Bulls fan right now. And as I look at this team and the landscape of the NBA and our future going forward, I really have come to the conclusion that I feel like this team needs to blow it up immediately. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, why would I say that? We just made the playoffs for the first time since the Jimmy Butler era ended last year with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine as our two best players. But if you really dive deep into our situation and the landscape of the league as a whole, there's no reason to keep this core together any further. For starters, let's talk about Zach LaVine, who is supposed to be the face of our franchise. LaVine this year has not been that good. He's averaging 22 points on below 43% shooting from the field and a career low from three since he's been in Chicago. And to be honest, if the scoring numbers were the way they were and he was just an average, just a little plus defender, I wouldn't even have a problem with him. I would want him to stay on the team. But unfortunately, his defense has not been good. LaVine in one-on-one situations, I believe, is a better defender than people give him credit for. He can move his feet, but he still is not a shutdown player, obviously. But off the ball, he isn't good at all. He falls asleep a lot on backdoor cuts. He'll ball watch so many times. He isn't a great help defender. He doesn't get in passing lanes a lot. I mean, he can do that because he's athletic. He doesn't get in passing. He doesn't rack up crazy amount of steals or anything. And honestly, I've just gotten to the point where I just look at LaVine as a volume scorer at this point, and his output may be stagnated due to the fact that he has to share the ball with DeMar DeRozan, but at least DeRozan is giving us playmaking, because LaVine's playmaking has not been that good. He sucks at passing out of double teams. There are times where he'll drive to the basket and get stuffed at the rim. He won't even do a euro to free up space at the rim. He'll just do a straight line drive, lose the ball, or jack up some dumb layup. I love LaVine. I mean, I got his jersey on my wall right there, but unfortunately, he just has not lived up to expectations. And considering that me, along with a lot of other Bulls fans, were so scared he was gonna leave and turn down that max contract, I ain't gonna lie, that contract looks like a mistake now. The contract definitely could have been worse, because if he made an All-NBA team, oh man, we probably would have had to give him a super max, but thankfully that didn't happen, and his contract is gonna be easier to move when we do inevitably trade him. I mean, I can't believe this guy shot 1 for 14 in a game and then complained when Billy Donovan benched him. Dude, you were shooting 1 for 14. 1 for 14, and you're mad that you got benched? You should be mad at yourself and take accountability for how bad you were. I don't care if you think that you're just that good, because unfortunately, you're not, LaVine. Play better and step up. Then that brings me to another big issue on this team, and that's Nikola Vucevic. I cannot stand Nikola Vucevic. Offensively this year, this is the best that he's played ever since that little era that he had after the trade, but let's remove that season. This is the best that he's played as a real member of the Bulls for a full season. He's averaging 16 and 11 on 57% true shooting, which is okay, but considering how bad his defense is, I would expect those numbers to be a little bit better and more efficient, but unfortunately, I can't ask for too much as a Bulls fan these days. Vucevic is a solid offensive big. Even though his three-point shot has been cooked over the last couple of years, I have to say he does provide some level of value offensively. He can be a solid passer and a post scorer, but the real issue with Vuce isn't even the offense, because honestly, if he was just an average defender while giving what he's giving offensively, I would have no problem with him, just like Zach LaVine. But unfortunately, he's one of the worst defenders in the league at his position. We're talking about a guy who on the perimeter is a turnstile, cannot guard anybody there, which is expected because how many bigs can even guard the perimeter anyways? So you look at the rim. Can he stop guys there? Hell no. He is so soft when it comes to defending the post. He can't stop anybody from getting to the rim. It's like a layup line when they go past Zach LaVine, because you know they're going to blow past his sorry ass on defense, or DeMar DeRozan sorry ass on defense, and Vooch can't do anything to stop those guys. I understand POA defense goes hand in hand with rim protection to create a great true team defense, but Vucevic isn't holding up his end whatsoever on that side of the ball. And to think that we traded the package that we gave up for him in the first place, that is truly insane to me looking back on it. Wendell Carter obviously is better than Vucevic, and we lost Franz Wagner. It really sucks looking back on it, and honestly, I can't do it, bro. Now, for those who watch the Off the Grid podcast, you know I've been very critical of DeMar DeRozan. I used to have that debate all the time with Go Bells about who's better, DeRozan or LaVine, DeRozan or LaVine. And even though I do believe DeRozan is better, it doesn't really change a lot of my opinions on DeMar DeRozan, because I've always known DeRozan is a good regular season player. It's just that when the playoffs come, we all know what the story is going to be. He cannot be your best player, and with the way his play style is set up, he really can't be your second best player either. I think on a real championship team, he's more so a third option, or maybe a guy that comes off the bench. He's an inefficient three-point shooter. Obviously, he doesn't even take that many, but when he does, he's bricking them. Nobody guards him out there. As a playmaker, even though he's gotten better at times, he can still take some dumb shots and ruin the flow of the offense. And as a playmaker, he's not good enough to make split-second decisions as much as a lot of other guys who are as ball dominant as he is as the number one option. And even though DeRozan is a really good offensive player, still one of the best mid-range shooters in the league, one of the best mid-range shooters of all time, to be honest with you, his defense is still a humongous issue. Oh my God, man, when you talk about the core of this team, DeRozan is the biggest issue, I think, defensively on this roster. People may not understand this, but this guy is 6'6" and has to play the power forward position. They have to slide him 2 positions away to keep him away from the perimeter as much as possible. He isn't a good help defender. He isn't a good one-on-one defender, isn't good off ball, can't get weak side shot blocks, can't do really anything on defense well at all. And considering that our core is LaVine, DeRozan, and Vucevic, and neither of them are plus defenders, and some of them even being liabilities, that is just a recipe for a team that is extremely flawed and easy to beat if they're going against a team that can exploit those weaknesses, which a lot of the best teams in the league obviously can. It really is a recipe just to be a mediocre team, and we have some really good pieces outside of those three. I'm not trying to make it seem like it's just a DeRozan, LaVine, and Vucevic show. I love what Alex Caruso has done for my team over the last year or so. Him and Lonzo Ball were carrying our defense last year for a good chunk of it, until obviously they both went down due to injuries. In the case of Lonzo, we haven't even seen him since last year, and I'll get to Lonzo in a second, but as far as Alex Caruso is concerned, I'm already prepared for him to leave us, because let's be honest, so many teams could use a guy like Alex Caruso. You may look at his numbers and think to yourself, what's so special? The guy's averaging like, what, 5 points a game on 40% shooting from the field? What's so nice about Caruso? Well, if you actually watch the games, you would understand that Caruso is what we would label a connector in the league. He's not a great playmaker as far as his own gravity, but he's a really good passer. He can make some nice split-second decisions to get the ball to the right spots on the court. He's effective in transition. He brings a lot of energy to the offense, can hit threes here and there. He's just a nice utility guy, but his real efforts come on the defensive side of the ball, and I don't care where we end up at the end of the season, in the playoffs, out the playoffs, wherever we are, I think Caruso should make an all-defensive team. He has been carrying our defense this year. Caruso can defend the post really well. He's good off the ball. He can rack up steals. He's great on the ball. The guy can truly do it all for a guard in ways that I have not seen in a very long time. He reminds me of a Marcus Smart, or at least our version of a Marcus Smart. Caruso really does the best job that he can to carry that defense, but with his partner in crime Lonzo Ball gone, and it looked like he's not even going to play for the rest of the season, it looks like our defense is just going to be flawed the way it is. And it's not just him that's providing on the defensive end. I like Ayo Dosunmu. He's Nigerian. He's a brother just like me, so I gotta support my guy. But unfortunately, There's only so much that he can do as a sophomore in this league. He's not polished enough as a scorer to create off the dribble or for others consistently. He has his moments here and there, but his impact can only go so far on this team. But while we're on the topic of young guys, that brings me to our number 4 overall pick a couple of years ago that you may have forgot in the 2020 draft, Patrick Williams. Oh my goodness, Patrick Williams. I mean, his defense has been really good for us, and I appreciate that. The flexibility he provides on that wing to guard multiple positions from 1 through even 4 at times, I gotta give him credit. He's a stout on that end. But offensively, holy shit, this guy is so mid. Don't get me wrong, he's a really improved shooter. I gotta give him his credit there. It's not like he has no value offensively. He can cut towards the basket off the ball. He has some production that he brings, but my goodness, he is so far behind for the expectations that I had for him going into this season. I expected him to be around a 12 to 15 point per game scorer, show flashes in his on-ball creation, but unfortunately, he hasn't done any of that. He has not hit double-digit points per game throughout his entire career. And sure, you could say he missed the majority of his sophomore year, but so far in his 3rd season, he isn't looking so hot. He just looks like a 3-and-D wing. And sure, you can always use that in this league, and I like Pat Will for what he is, but considering that he was that 4th overall pick and I thought he had some true star potential, it doesn't look like he's ever going to reach those heights. So I'll just accept him for being a 3-and-D guy moving forward, because that's really all he looks like he's gonna be at this point. But I will say at least he's actually producing, unlike that bust that we got, Kobe White. Kobe White is so dog shit, and I'm not even gonna spend more time talking about him because he doesn't deserve it. Shout out to Dragic though, he's made some nice little plays that I like here and there, even though I know he's not in the long-term plans, but he's been pretty exciting to watch in some of the minutes that he plays. But now that I've talked about this team for the most part, let's look at my overwhelming point. Why should we keep this team together? I don't understand. We are not championship contenders. Hell, we will not even be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, and there's a chance we may miss the playoffs in its entirety. So with that being the case, I just don't understand why we are keeping this team together. We're paying DeMar DeRozan an $85 million contract. We're paying Zach LaVine a max contract. Nikola Vucevic this year is making $22 million American dollars, and Lonzo is making $19 million to not even play. And hell, I almost forgot about Lonzo, but let me say this real quick. Lonzo's at the point in his career where there's a chance that he may never play again. I'm so serious. I've considered that option as well. This is a guy that tore his meniscus and has had leg problems throughout his entire career, and right now we don't know when he's going to play. He tore his meniscus in January of this year. He's had 2 surgeries so far, and the guy said that he couldn't even walk properly when he last talked about his injury in the first place. I am prepared for Lonzo to probably never play again in the NBA. I know that may seem like an extreme, but it's something that we have to consider. But getting back to this team as a whole, blow it up, man. Move on. There is nothing left of this roster that's worth holding on to outside of a couple young players. I like Dallin Terry. I would like for him to get some minutes this season. He seems like a really good connector kind of guy. If we can keep Caruso going forward, which I know will probably not happen, hold on to him as a nice supporting piece. Patrick Williams is a good young player, even though he isn't the player that I thought he would be. And even though Kobe White's young, ship that man the fuck out of Chicago. I don't want to see him in a Bulls uniform ever again. And as far as Io is concerned, he could be a nice building block towards the future. LaVine, he can go. He's in his prime right now. If he wants to win championships and move on, he's going to have to start playing some defense. But hey, right now he's not going to do anything with the Bulls. It's better to move him now while he has a lot of value left, because right now it looks like his value is going down the drain. I ain't gonna lie to you. And in the case of DeMar, I've already said multiple times, we can't win a championship with him as the number 1 option. Hell, we can't even really compete in this Eastern Conference with him as the number 1 option. So move him also and get some assets for the future. It's always best to be a bottom team than a middle of the pack team. And right now, we're not even middle of the pack. We're just not good enough to tank, and we're not good enough to compete. That's the worst spot in the NBA to be, and I hate mediocrity. I'd rather us just be back in the lottery where we have chances to get young guys that can change our future to potentially contend, but unfortunately right now, we're not in that position. I mean, even if we make the playoffs, what does that accomplish for us? We're just going to be a team that is there to get smacked in the first round, and more than likely, even if we make it as a play-in team, we might lose in the play-in. There is nothing left for us to compete that is worth it at this point. Move on and blow this team the hell up. But that concludes this video, you guys. I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. You guys stay safe and have a blessed day. Peace.